This is WIN News.
Tonight, two families devastated after a surf rescue claims the life of a man who went to help. The Premier non-committal on the southwestern Illawarra rail link, and Gordon Bradbury confident he'll be returned as Wollongong Lord Mayor. Good evening, I'm Geoff. Also coming up tonight, Collegians captures the Illawarra Rugby League Premiership in a classic encounter with Dapto. A Victorian father of three has died in a quest to save two children he didn't know who were caught in a rip at Wollongong City Beach. Rescuers pulled Sean Oliver's body from the water as the children's distraught family and beachgoers watched on in disbelief.
Two sisters in mourning for their selfless baby brother.
If there was a bigger word than hero, that's what he would be.
The husband and father of three from Berwick, southeast Melbourne, plunged into the surf to help two children caught in a rip on Wollongong City Beach, only to succumb to the hazardous surf himself.
He was just an amazing boy, and he would help anybody who was in trouble. He would obviously give his life to save somebody. I wish he was here today because I'd be telling him off.
Tragedy struck Wollongong City Beach just after 4, where 4 of Islam Hamad's children were in the water, 2 dragged out to sea. The 32-year-old gave his life to rescue them.
There was a heavy surf, the beach was closed, it wasn't patrolled. You've got ticks against everything why you shouldn't be in the water or near the water, and unfortunately they've entered the water and it's resulted in the death of a hero.
That hero was assisted by quick-thinking surfers, paramedics and police.
I paddled out like as fast as I could, but the waves were big and I was getting like smashed on the way out. By the time I got to the kid, he was like, he had his hand up, he was going under, and he was just yelling help. He was just yelling help me, help me.
Tom brought in 11-year-old Yazan to shore before paddling straight back out. Fellow surfer Dan McKenzie also took on the hazardous surf.
The father, I'm presuming, came up to us and just gave us this embrace where we nearly broke down into tears as a result. He was just so distraught and emotional. And he just wouldn't stop thanking us.
Yesterday's incident unfolded at low tide, which to the untrained eye can be incredibly deceiving. And what the Hamad family failed to see was a deadly rip that carried their two children almost 100 metres out to sea.
It can be quite deceiving, these surf conditions. While the waves might not look too big, the undercurrent underneath is quite strong, and that's what does cause most of the issues, those rips.
It's a timely reminder and a warning that you swim between the flags, patrol beaches only.
The young surfers are now being praised for acting on their instincts, but say it was Mr. Oliver who showed incredible bravery.
In the grand scheme of things, we did very little compared to the man who has unfortunately passed away.
If you're calling me a hero, that's very undeserving in how it compares to him.
Kimberly Pratt, WIN News.
Premier Gladys Berejiklian has assured Helensburgh businesses they won't be forgotten under the government's energy relief package as she visited the town this morning. The Premier keen to press the energy initiative, but she had little to offer on the bigger issue of transport links.
Putting her best foot forward, Gladys Berejiklian was making herself known in Helensburgh, but not everyone got the chance to chew the fat with the Premier.
So what's your beef here today? What are you here for?
I want to see this government gone.
The Premier instead did her best to spruik the government's new energy rebate scheme alongside member for Heathcote Lee Evans. The package could save some businesses close to $2,000 a year, but it's not yet finalised.
They should be doing more, not only for small business, but households as well.
So I said to Lee, make sure you get their details and pass on the information. We're hoping to have the details finalised in November. We'll be issuing a tender for the scheme.
But when pressed on the big ticket items in the region's road and rail network, in particular the southwest Illawarra rail link, the Premier remained tight-lipped.
Oh look, I don't really want to discuss those those projects in detail.
Ms Berejiklian evidently reluctant to open the purse strings.
Gladys, just on the southwest Illawarra railing, have you seen the proposal at all?
Look, I've answered that question in the press conference.
Have you seen the detail of it?
Oh, look, looking forward to answering on all the projects we've got on the boil. Thank you.
A brief visit, all but over.
Thanks for having us. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Bye.
Jake Keating, WIN News.
The old Sam's Warehouse site in Wollongong may soon be home to a new high-rise. A developer based at St George has lodged an application with council to build a 13-storey mixed-use building on the site. The $30.7 million tower would have 3 retail spaces, 122 apartments and 3 levels of parking. This application comes after a previous plan was abandoned despite the $38 million development being approved by the Joint Regional Planning Panel last year. Since 2014, the site has been used as an all-day car park after Sam's Warehouse closed down. The makeup of the new Wollongong Council is becoming clearer despite around 40,000 preferences and postal votes still to be allocated. Incumbent Gordon Bradbury is confident he'll remain Lord Mayor, and while Labor has made big gains, they are not enough to give it a majority.
Electoral Commission staff are still counting, but at 8,000 ahead in the primary vote, Gordon Bradbury has called it.
On the figures that are before us, I'm Lord Mayor.
Labor's David Brown is safely elected as a councillor but has yet to concede he hasn't won the Lord Mayoralty. He says there's been a swing and it seems voters are putting the ICAC investigations of 2011 behind them.
Look, I think it's because we campaigned positively. Some of our opponents tried to drag up that ICAC stuff, but that was a decade ago. And I think they weren't rewarded for doing that.
The Greens in Wards 1 and 2 claimed a significant swing, claiming 20% of the vote, up from 13% in 2011. The Liberals have lost a seat on council. The Premier congratulated one of the 3 successful Liberals.
I'm not someone who likes party politics in local government. I would prefer party politics was reduced, not increased at local government.
In Ward 1, Labor is leading, with Janice Kershaw and Janelle Rimmer crossing the line, alongside the Greens' Mithra Cox and Liberal Lee Colaccino. In Ward 2, Labor's leading candidate David Brown and first-timer Tanya Brown collected about 34% of the vote, with Liberal John Dorahy and Greens' Kath Blakey also safely elected. Meanwhile, in the Southern Ward 3, candidates Vicky King and Chris Connor pushed the total Labor seats on council up to 6, alongside new Liberal face Cameron Walters, with votes from Gordon Bradbury flowing on to his number 2, Don Figliomini. But while lines were long at polls across the city, it seems disinterest was almost as strong as interest. Around 150,000 people are enrolled to vote in Wollongong, but well over a third either didn't vote or cast an informal vote. Those who didn't vote can expect to receive a penalty in the mail. Sydney Pede, WIN News.
In Shellharbour, the Labor Party looks set to have the greatest number of representatives on the New Look Council, but not enough for a majority. The party looks like it will gain 3 councillors, but the one more needed for a majority is looking elusive.
Voters in Shellharbour have taken to the polls for the first time in 6 years, and Labor's proven to be the popular choice. Marianne Saliba's ticket earning a third of the overall vote.
I've given 100% over the past 6 years, and I think that most people recognise that. You only have to look at the merger issue, and I fought very hard to protect our city.
Controversial plans to part privatise Shellharbour Hospital are being attributed to the Liberals' poorest showing these elections, falling from 24% in 2011 down to 17%. Liberal Nathan Cattell has earned a spot on council, but even he doesn't support the New South Wales government's hospital plans.
I'm happy for anyone to say what they think in this debate, what they think is right, and that includes any member of the Liberal Party.
Not being listened to at a level that they need to be, and I think the council needs, and the fresh new council needs to be looking at the community needs and discussing what they really want.
Independent Kelly Marsh and Labor's Robert Petrevski have cleared the numbers to make it onto the New Look Council, while the 3 final councillor positions could take days to determine as postal votes roll in. Ms Saliba looks to have the support from her fellow councillors to be re-elected to mayor, but next election it'll be up to the public to pick their own mayor, with 70% voting in the referendum to change the system to a popular vote for the top job. There was less support to return to the council ward system in Shellharbour, with ratepayers split 50-50. Councillors will pick the city's new mayor in a fortnight. Caitlin Dugan, WIN News.
There's been a strong showing of the region's inaugural September the 11th commemoration in Corrimal. The service was held to pay respect to the servicemen and women putting their lives at risk on the front line in Iraq and Afghanistan in the global fight against terrorism.
11th of September 2001, also known as colloquially 9/11, was the day that the World Trade Centers were attacked and brought down in New York. And that was a day that we were required to confront terrorism, and it changed our lives forever.
There are a lot of veterans and ex-service men and women in the Illawarra, and I think it's a good day to bring us all together with the RSL and to recognise their service.
It's hoped the commemoration in the Illawarra will be held annually. Coming up next on WIN News, Illawarra locals caught in Florida as Hurricane Irma hits, and spring into Corrimal attracts more than 50,000 people. A pedestrian who was hit by a car while crossing the road in Oak Flats on Thursday has died from her injuries. The 78-year-old woman was struck after stepping off the curb along Central Avenue during busy morning traffic. She was airlifted to Sydney but died in hospital. Police investigations are continuing. Two Wollongong locals are among the hundreds of thousands of people bunkered down in Florida as Hurricane Irma continues to batter the United States southeast. The hurricane has lashed Florida, and there are fears the worst might not be over.
It's leaving trees uprooted and turning roads into rivers. In the heart of Hurricane Irma is Wollongong's Courtney Barnes. She's been in lockdown for the last 8 hours in Fort Lauderdale, 50 kilometres north of Miami.
It was very noisy, very windy, lots of things banging around outside, but because the plywood was up, you know, we didn't know whether it was a car coming at the house or whether it was just a trash can going down the road.
200 kilometres up the road at Melbourne Beach is fellow local Tim Lewis.
I'm upstairs, I hear there's a fair few branches that I can hear getting knocked onto the roof, surrounded by a fair few 100-year-old kind of oak trees.
Irma is now a Category 1, but that doesn't mean it isn't dangerous.
There was 4 of us and 3 dogs huddled in a small bathroom every time a tornado warning went off. So that was probably one of the scariest moments.
It's left millions without power as it makes its way north towards Tampa.
I haven't had a whole bunch of sleep in the last 48 hours, so hopefully I can get back to sleep pretty soon and wake up when it's all over.
The worst is far from over, with warnings of storm surges and more rain ahead. Jake Keating, WIN News.
The head of TAFE New South Wales has tried to reassure students of its commitment to the Dapto TAFE facility after it came under fire in State Parliament last week. Managing Director John Black sent a statewide email to students saying the closure of the Dapto campus has not limited access to vocational education and training in the suburb and surrounds. His email follows a WIN News report which revealed students weren't allowed to use a toilet in the building, instead being directed to the nearby railway station. Figures showed that on average only one student a day uses the access point. Despite the low student activity, TAFE says it's committed to offering a presence in Dapto a year after the campus of 600 students closed. Work will begin this week on a major road resurfacing project on one of Wollongong's busiest roads. Almost $1 million will be spent resurfacing and repairing Masters Road, which carries the majority of truck traffic to Port Kembla and the steelworks. The work is being done at night between 8 p.m. and 4 a.m. 55,000 residents have packed the streets for the annual Spring into Corrimal Festival. The Free Family Day keeps getting bigger each year. This year, the petting zoos and amusements prove popular with the crowd.
It's not just Corrimal's biggest weekend. We're now the largest family festival within regional New South Wales.
Organisers say the event exceeded their expectations, particularly with the Bulli Pass closure and extra security costs this year. Sport is next with Amy, and a Kiama power player picks up the AFL South Coast Best and Fairest medal.
That is right, Geoff, and the team has earned the first ticket to the grand final, plus Collies keeping their cool to be crowned Illawarra Rugby League champs.
This report brought to you by Nikolovsky Lawyers, helping you to rebuild.
Has staved off a spirited fight back from Dapto to be crowned 2017 Illawarra Rugby League champions. It's the second title in 3 years for coach Nathan Feen, and a try to Blake Phillips in the dying stages proved the difference.
4 years after they last held the premiership trophy aloft, the hardware man Illawarra League silverware's headed back to Collies again. Knocking off the minor premiers and defending champs, an electric start paved the way for an historic win, up 12-0 after 15 minutes. Dapto hit back through a spinning and twirling Joel Reddy first, and when Jason Raper shifted the ball down the western sideline, Dapto went into the sheds down by 2. The Canaries flew the coop in the second, Rob Baserow flying away to snatch the lead just before the hour mark. But moments later, Jordan Bowles barged through and the Dogs were back on top. Skipper Blake Phillips then scored the winner, Collies savouring a 22-14 win. Collies also got the points in the 18s, while a Corey Tulloch field goal sank their seconds great hopes. Fists flew as the result was sealed, the Butchers winning 17-16. Jared Constable 17-16. Jared Constable, WIN News.
Meanwhile, celebrations kicked off early in Kiama with the Knights winning through to the Group 7 decider with a 19-12 win over Shellharbour. The Knights making all 3 senior grade grand finals and will play Jamboree on Sunday. Meanwhile, the Young Dragons are through to week 3 of the finals after a thrilling 18-12 upset win over the Panthers in the NYC. Illawarra's Intrust Super Premiership season is over, falling to Canterbury Bankstown 32-14. The rivalry between crosstown combatants, the Lions and the Bulldogs, hits a new level on Saturday when the two face off for the final spot in the AFL South Coast decider. The Dogs ended the Suns' maiden finals tilt while the Power broke the Lions' hearts. Ben Williams taking out best and fairest for the season.
It's been a big 48 hours for 2017 League best and fairest Ben Williams.
Feeling pretty good, despite the beers, but it was a good night last night. Take home the medal. Yeah, a bit of a shock really, but good feeling.
Kiama nabbing back-to-back Tunbridge medals, picking up 7 selections in the Team of the Year after earning the week off, headed straight to the decider.
Yeah, it's definitely the way to do it, I guess. We're going to train pretty hard next 2 weeks, sharpen up the skills.
It was a win that almost didn't happen. Power trailed at every change as the Lions flexed their muscles. The reigning champs led by 4 with just minutes remaining, but a brain snap opened the door for an unlikely reprieve. Matthew Price was taken out after kicking a behind and was given a second chance. He made no mistake and the Power got its nose in front, booking the first spot in the grand final.
Yeah, we definitely worked hard to get our spot in the grand final, but like I said, it's not over yet and we're hoping in 2 weeks' time we can perform the same way we did today.
Obviously pretty disappointing, a tight game of footy. It was a big battle for 100 minutes and it was right down to the last couple of minutes before it was decided.
The Lions now face the Dogs in a grand final replay after the sun set on Shellharbour's first finals tilt. Bulldogs kicked 4 goals 3 in the first term and the Suns couldn't respond, eventually downed 74-51. Jared Constable, WIN News.
The Hawks have finished second at this year's NBL Blitz, their first round loss to Melbourne, proving the difference. The Hawks were 93-71 winners against Cairns before accounting for the Kings 96-80. After a topsy-turvy weekend of results, the Hawks and Melbourne finished equal first, but for and against was the only thing separating the teams. It's a quick turnaround for Sydney and Illawarra. They'll play each other again in a trial on Saturday at the Snake Pit. The Moss Vale missile Caleb Ewan has rocketed to his 3rd stage win on the Tour of Britain. The Southern Highlands sprint specialist was second around the final corner and had plenty of work to do when he hit the front, finishing the 187-kilometre stage with a wet sail.
Caleb Ewan on the front, Fernando Gavira on the wheel. Look at the speed now of Caleb Ewan. Is he going to take his 3rd stage victory of the Ovo Energy Tour of Britain? Yes, he is. Caleb Ewan takes the stage. Fantastic victory yet again.
The win wasn't enough to secure the overall sprinters jersey, with Dutchman Lars Boom retaining the overall lead to come away with a win. And that is our sport, Geoff.
Don't you just love grand final time?
It is a good time of the year.
Best time of the year. OK. Weather is after the break with Tanya Dendrinos.
Tuesday. The WIN Network's diverse group of TV channels gives viewers an outstanding choice of entertainment and advertisers the...
Tonight on WIN.